Well, hello again, everybody. It's Tuesday night, and that means two things. We just did our preview show, so we wrapped that one up, but we're doing our prospect profile show, our 2026 prospect profile show. We got the same three back at it. I got Vincent Turner, we got Joey Clinkscales, we got me, Brian LeBel, and we got a couple of one of them is kind of the toast of the town as far as his position, and we're going to start with him, and that is running back Jeremiyah Love. I think he's the number one running back right now overall in the entire class coming out. But Joey, is there anything about this kid's game that's bad? I mean, everything he does just seems to be at an NFL level, right? I think a team is going to get an absolute day one starter with him. I don't know how early because some teams it's kind of taboo where you take a running back, but I mean, there's really nothing to not love about Jeremiyah Love's game.
Right. I mean, he's a really talented individual. I mean, kid from St. Louis, Missouri, who's he's been in Notre Dame for 3 years. He's got excellent hands to catch out of the backfield. He can catch screens and turn something short into long play. He's got great quickness and vision. He's a little bit of a strider as a runner once he gets going, but for a strider, he's got quick feet. So he's sudden. He can make people miss in the hole. So it's not a lot to dislike about him. He's not a scat back. He's a downhill runner. He's 6 foot and he's 214, 215. He knows how to finish runs with power. There's not a lot not to like about him because he can catch out of the backfield. The only thing I would say he probably could improve on, like all young backs, like backs in the NFL for that matter, is his pass pro. He'll improve that, but that's just with his maturation. He'll get better at it naturally. So I wouldn't call it a negative at all. Just something he needs to improve on. But he's got the skill set to be a day one starter for a team in need of a running back because, again, he's got top end speed. He's got a short burst. He has the ability to finish in the hole. He's got the ability to finish with power at the end of a run, and he can catch out of the backfield. And he has good vision. He can make people miss in a short area. So there's not a lot to dislike about this player.
Well, Vincent, he averages just short of 5.5 yards a carry. He averaged almost 7 last year. It's 17 touchdowns, 1,125 yards. He's well on pace for those numbers again, probably more so as far as the carries department, getting a little bit more of the load as far as what Notre Dame is doing offensively because they kind of struggled early on. But this is a kid that, listen, I don't know how high you have him up on your draft board, right? Because like I said, running backs are kind of taboo. There's some guys that, GMs, Joey, as you know, that don't specifically like taking running backs early, and they think you can find guys in the second or third and fourth round. But then you have guys like Jeremiyah Love who, I mean, the talent is obviously there, and it's going to be really hard to find 5, 10, 15 guys better than him.
Well, basically, when you look at Jeremiah Love, I'm going to go old school. He's 6'7", 215, got, I want to say, sprinter speed. Once he hits the daylight, he's going to take it coast to coast. Touchdown, see you. Tony Dorsett back in the day. Walked on to Crummy. When I was at the University of Arkansas, he played at Baylor. First round pick of the Steelers, 82 draft, matter of fact. But I had this special for Mr. Clinkscales. If you look at this guy's career, he reminds me of Johnny Jones. Remember Johnny Jones was a guy powerful, but when Johnny Jones broke that second line of defense, he was gone to the house. All I got to do is go back to the Alabama game. Can I keep preaching, Mr. Clinkscales?
Yep.
then he got a little of that special Billy Sims in him. And then the power, I'm not saying, because I don't want nobody to be commenting on the page today. We had some very terrible comments in our other show saying I was going to see now. But he's got some power like Herschel Walker when he was at the University of Georgia. No question about it. He's the top back in the draft. No question about it. Notre Dame doesn't go to the playoffs with him last year. No question about it. They better give him the ball on Saturday against USC. Every time you're able to get him 20 touches a game, he makes something happen. And most of all, I like him out of the backfield with his hands. And he's just so explosive and powerful when you're talking about running and inside. And think about this. Notre Dame hasn't had a running back draft in the first round since 1993, the Hall of Famer Jerome Bettis. Back to you, gentlemen.
Well, the guy that I would is two guys. I mean, he's got a mixture of a lot. If we're going to do some comparison here, I
Yes,
would
sir.
say, and I would say he's a mixture of a Darren McFadden and a kind of Ricky Waters kind of guy, because
Yep.
I think he's a little bit of a strider. I think he's
Yep.
got great top end speed. I think he can catch the ball at the backfield. I think he's got some movement skills. And his feet are probably a little quicker than both of those guys. But in my mind, watching him, he might be a combination of both of those guys. Maybe not as heavy as I think McFadden played at about 215.
Right, correct.
Maybe an inch taller. And Waters had magic feet, and I think this kid has good feet. So I think he's a combination of both of those guys.
Vincent, you stole my thunder there. I was going to kind of give you guys a trivia question. I was going to ask Joey, obviously with the Steelers, who's the last running back taken out of Notre Dame in the first round, right? I was kind of alluding to it, but yeah, it hasn't been since '93 with Jerome Bettis. But obviously, I think right now, Joey, going back to you, this kid is kind of bucking that trend, right? And I think you look at what the Falcons did with Bijan Robinson, a lot of the running backs that have been taken high that have panned out, and I think it really puts you in a situation where, if you're a GM and you need help on offense, especially at the running back position, why not, right? If he's there round one, you can get a guy that can come in and be an instant impact guy who can give you 20 to 25 touches a game consistently, which he does at Notre Dame, no problem. Why would you not do it?
Well, I think some of the mentality about not taking a running back high is the fact that those guys have so many carries in college. And ultimately, you only have so many carries in you as a running back, so many hits you can take to the legs, to the chest, so I think those guys have so many carries in college that NFL people feel like, you know what, he's a really good player. He's carried the ball. He carried the ball 300 times last year, and we're not going to do that with him and XYZ. So I think you find reasons not to take running backs in the first round because typically they begin to fall off at age 27, 28. Running backs, in my opinion, running backs that play well in their junior year should get out of there. You know what I mean? Because guess what? Your clock is already ticking as far as what teams want to pay you when they think you've reached your peak and your skill set is trying to head the other way. So, but again, we're talking about this kid, and I think this is a talented back. I think he's a first-round talent. And I'm going to assume he's going to go in the first round. But you know what? It's a long way to go. It's a lot of athletic tests to take. It's a lot of mental aptitude tests to take. So it's a process. But I feel like this kid has the ability to be a mid to high first-round pick.
Well, you talk about kind of the wear and tear on running backs. I mean, he's slated to have about 500 total touches before he calls it quits in college and heads to the professional level. Vincent, when you touching on that still, when you look at that, it's just, there's some durability, right? He hasn't really been banged up. His first year, they didn't really give him the ball a whole heck of a lot. And then last year was just kind of like, boom, it was his show. And he they were very, very good at Notre Dame, obviously very, very close to winning a national championship. He was a huge part of their offense. The passing attack wasn't great, wasn't bad, but he was the bread and butter of the offense. And I understand the durability issues, but if you can have a kid come in and just kind of be a flash in the pan and he can kind of turn an offense around, and especially if you're in a team with a young quarterback that needs some help, are you pulling the trigger on this kid, or are you kind of waiting and seeing, and maybe you can get some help in the second or third round at running back? But listen, watching film, there's nothing about this kid's game that is bad. You guys mentioned the footwork, everything that he does. He runs with power. He's got a ton of speed. He does everything right.
I love the kid. I'm not going to tell you no lie. I think the kid is special. Playing at Touchdown Jesus every week, I don't really get excited because we see Notre Dame all the time on TV, but this kid's special, man. Just think about right now in Nashville, Tennessee. Opry line how Cam Ward would love to have him in the backfield. Hello? Think about what James Cook has meant to Josh Allen. Hello? Yeah. Think about what Bijan Robinson's mean to Michael Penix. Like Mr. Clinkscales said, you can use them all over the field. We ain't got to necessarily pound them inside, but get them out on the running back. The kid has got good hands. And last year, he's got the ability to go to the house. All I got to do is go way back against Indiana in the first round of playoffs, that 98-yard run when he outran two defensive backs that had the angle on them. But that's what I call that 4.3 speed in the 40. He's a gentleman. Boy, I love to see him in Tennessee with Cam Ward, baby. And I give it back to y'all, gentlemen.
Yeah, we got the visual of that right there, right? You don't even have to wonder what that looks like because we got it right there up on screen. It's boom, it's right
I
there.
know you like
Absolutely.
that, Mr. Clinkscales.
I
I know.
do. I do.
Look at him
I
smiling.
do. I do.
I'm gonna say this: all you people out there that want to be pretenders with the NFL and think you know all the quality. See, we got something special here. We got a gentleman got 22 years of experience. Got a gentleman that's been an assistant GM, and I got a talented, very handsome lead host. So I'm very arrogant today. Thank you. Back to you, Brian.
Vincent, you got any final thoughts on Jeremiyah Love? Anything you want to get out there? Anything you see in his game, or maybe like a professional comparison that you have right now before we move on?
3 down back. And as I said before, when you look at it, he got a like already Mr. Clinkscales said, Mr. Dan McFadden, but I think
Yeah.
combination wise really remind me of Johnny Jones at the University of Tennessee. Same type of football player, very explosive. Johnny Jones could take it to the house in any minute of the day. And Johnny Jones could really catch the ball out of the backfield. And he had that special gift to him out of Brownsville, Tennessee. Back to you, Brian.
Joey, same thing to you. Is there anything about Jeremiyah Love that people are missing, or is there any final thoughts that you have on him that maybe you got to get out there before we move on to our next prospect?
No, I don't. He's pretty easy to evaluate. I don't think you're missing a whole lot with Jeremiah because he's a guy you can line up just like you line up Bijan. You can put him in space and you can throw the ball to him out there, and he can make plays. He can make people miss in space and take it to the house. He can take it out of the backfield. It's not a whole lot he can't do. Again, he'll clean up the pass pro, which he'll have to do because ultimately you have a $50 million quarterback. You don't want a rookie running back getting him hurt because he misses a block. So all that has to get cleaned up, and he'll do that. He's the right kind of kid. He's got the right kind of makeup to do that. So I'm really excited to see where Jeremiah goes because he's talented, and I expect him to be a first-round pick, assuming that he stays healthy.
Yeah, I think he's an instant impact guy. And before we went on, I told these two, I said, listen, the film study and everything you have on this kid is I got forward. This kid can play, right? He's fantastic. And speaking of kids that can play, our next prospect is Harold Perkins at LSU, a kid who's flying all over the field at linebacker. And LSU's got a couple of really good linebackers, right? A couple of guys that are talks of the town, some of them for football, some of them for other things, right? But Perkins has just been a stud there. He had the injury. We got the pictures from last year, unfortunately, but there's not a ton from this year. Vincent, I'll let you start. Harold Perkins, linebacker at LSU. What are you thinking?
Explosive. Like how he plays sideline to sideline. Loved him as a freshman. I think that was his best year when he came on the scene as a freshman. Remember that Arkansas game where he had 3 sacks? He had like 4 or 5 tackles for loss at 6'1", 222 pounds. But everything you like about him playing it, well, I say we was talking about it earlier, but pre-show, the bandit position, Mr. Cleanscales can break it down more better than I can, playing on the boundary. But to me, he got a little bit of Cornell Lake in him. Former Steeler. Remember, he came out of UCLA as a linebacker. They kind of made him a safety. Then he kind of played on that boundary. Then in my day, even though I'm 65 years old, he's the same size as Hugh Green. But Hugh Green was a hell of a guy coming out the edge rushing the passer. But Mr. Perkins can do that too. And then another guy that really, really puts me in the mind of the cat that played at the University of Georgia was Delvin Herschel, Terry Hogue, who played a long time in the league. Played an outstanding position at Georgia. You didn't know whether he was safety or linebacker, but he was just making plays all over the place. And this kid is fast, man. Like Mr. Cleanscale said in the pre-show meeting, this guy got tremendous speed to go sideline to sideline. If he's in the right scheme, he's going to be a Pro Bowl player. The only thing, he got hurt his junior year last year, had the ACL, missed the season. But if he's healthy, which he seems he's doing this year, he's a hell of a football player. Back to you, Brian.
Joey, Harold Perkins, kid's putting up numbers. He's doing really good on a really good defense, right, at LSU. They're playing really, really well. They're a top 10 team, playoff hopeful team. When breaking down film, when watching him play, what is it that kind of just jumps out at you, right? Is there anything that kind of separates him from everyone else as far as like, hey, he's doing this really well or he's doing this at a really high level or, there's not even that many guys in the NFL doing these kinds of things?
Well, they play him at what called a star position, so he's able to do a ton of things. He's their Swiss Army knife on defense. He's a linebacker that plays like in some instances he's like a weak side linebacker. He's always the weak side, so he doesn't have to read per se some of the things, but he can play in space. They line him up in space like a safety, a short safety, not a deep safety. But he's got great hips to turn on receivers in space. So he does that well. And just his tackling, he's a downhill runner. He's got great sideline to sideline speed. He shows a burst. He's a violent tackler when he gets the opportunity. It's not a lot to dislike about this guy. It's just where you're going to play him. I mean, I think the Cornell Lake comparison was good from the standpoint Cornell was a linebacker at UCLA. And a safety when he got to the Steelers. I'm going to assume this guy's going to stay at linebacker because of all the things he can do. And again, he's a Swiss Army knife. He rushes the passer. He's got to this point, I think he's got like 15 and a half career sacks, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, he does a lot of different things for this team. He's super productive. To do everything that he's doing, he's got to be extremely smart and obviously athletic for a guy to one snap play in space versus a number 2 receiver. The next snap, he's playing linebacker. The next snap on passing down, you see him rushing the passer, chasing quarterbacks down, chasing running backs down. So it's not a whole lot this guy can't do. He's not great at the point of attack, taking on blocks, those big guys. You know, he gets engulfed there sometimes. So, the hat and hand thing, the control and shed thing, he's got to get better at. And he will with playing with better leverage. But this is a speed athlete. He can run downhill. He's violent at the point of attack as a tackler, and he makes things happen.
Vincent, do we give him any extra credit for playing in the SEC? That comes, that seems to be the consensus, right? You get a Big Ten now, more so in the last couple of years, or an SEC guy, and we kind of tend to give him a little bit more credit, right? Because if you could do it at that level, realistically, we're thinking, hey, these are the guys you're playing against when you get there on Sundays. So, do you think it's a little bit better for him that he's an SEC caliber player? He's doing it at LSU. I mean, you look at their schedule, look at who they're playing, look who he's doing it up against.
Patrick Queen, Steelers. Yeah. Okay, Quan Walker, Packers. Where did they play ball at? In the SEC. As I'm always going to say, I'm not going to go from my opinion. I'm going to take this to my grave. The best football is played down here in the South, in the SEC. Now, if anyone wants to come in and challenge me with the Big Ten, I understand that. But week in and week out, even when Mr. Clinkscales played back in the day. See, Mr. Clinkscales played against Cornelius Bennett. Hello. He played against Derek Thomas. Hello. So football doesn't change in the SEC. The players get better. Great point, Mr. Brian LeBel. We all know where the best players are and the best football is played. I don't have to say no more. The mic has dropped. Back to you, gentlemen.
Hey, listen, he said it, not me. All right. Listen, I like the Big Ten too, right? I think they got some ballers up there. But Joey, from your perspective, right, when you're evaluating talent, I mean, when they're playing against, Ole Miss and Georgia and Alabama, and they're playing against, top tier offensive linemen as well, right? Because you're looking at, hey, this guard is a first round talent, and Harold was phenomenal against him, right? Getting through the gap, maneuvering, getting off blocks or whatever. Is that something that you're going to look at more so because he's at LSU and he's doing it at a high level? Listen, now you get the cupcake games, but he's doing it 10 out of 12 weeks of the season, right?
Right, but to be fair, especially in today's football, it's not many cupcake teams in the SEC. Well, at one point, you could have said that about Mississippi State. You can't say that anymore. You can
Vanderbilt. You can't say it about Vanderbilt anymore.
You can't say that anymore. So from top to bottom, it's clearly the best conference. However, you evaluate guys on the people they're playing, how they approach the game, their football acumen, all those things, and then you see how they take those things and apply them on the field. And he's able to do that at a very high level. And even if he were in the Big Ten, I mean, that's not going to stop his his athletic ability, the way he runs downhill, his speed sideline to sideline. He just chose to play in a conference that's the best in the country.
Now, if he's at Tulane, are we talking about him right now? If he's
Absolutely.
down the street there,
I mean,
think so?
because he's going to jump off the tape.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's the thing that I was speaking with a gentleman earlier today, and he talked about people not seeing guys that are outside of the Power 4 conference or small schools, and that's really not the case. If a guy can play, scouts will find you. Okay, they will find you. There've been hey, we found Khalil Mack at the University of Buffalo.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, and that being said, he opened up a can on Ohio State when they played, and they lost the game. But Khalil Mack was the star of the game. We found John Abraham, who drafted him with the number 12 pick in the draft out of South Carolina, and guess what? South Carolina was 0-12 that year. Yeah. John Abraham blew off the tape. So if you can play football and you play it at a high level, it doesn't matter who you're playing, where you're playing at, whether you're on asphalt, red dirt,
the blue field in Boise, right?
It doesn't matter. Build it and we'll find you.
There you go. Now, a little off topic. John Abraham, is he a Hall of Famer? I think so, right? Hall of Fame guy?
I think he has a chance to be. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a phenomenal athlete. He could really run. He could really rush the passer. He could bend the edge, and he was a productive pass rusher, outside linebacker, defensive end, but mainly outside linebacker, rushing the passer for a decade. So he's a borderline guy. I don't want to hand out Hall of Fame accolades to everybody. But as a rusher, I think if you, and I don't know how many sacks he had, but if you hit that 100 sack plateau in your career, which shows consistency, which basically say for 10 years, I got 10 sacks. If you can hit that plateau, and again, I don't know his numbers, so maybe he's close to that. If you can hit that plateau as a rusher, then I think you have a real chance to be elected into the Hall of Fame.
Well, he had 133 and a half, not 100.
There you go.
So just a little bit more than that.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, what we were talking about, Harold Fannin Jr. is the guy we broke down film on the show last year, and he was a Bowling Green guy. So it's the whole thing, right? If you can play, they'll find you. Vincent, this kid can play. Is he going to play himself into a first-round draft choice? Is he going to be a steal in the second? I mean, where do you see this kid ending up? He's got the talent, obviously, right? He's got the pedigree. Your thoughts on where Harold Perkins maybe ends up come April?
One point here. Depends where LSU ends up at the end of the season.
Okay.
If they end up in the college football playoffs, they do well in the SEC, the gentleman, in my opinion, going to be a mid to late first round pick. All depends how LSU play the rest of the season, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I think you see Mr. Perkins in the first round. That's just my opinion. Back to you, Brian.
Joey, same question to you. Do you think Harold Perkins, where he's at right now, he's got ability to, obviously you can always play into a higher draft selection. We got the combine, a lot of different things are going to happen. But if you're looking at him right now, what's your draft grade on him? Where's he end up?
Yeah, I think he's I don't think his ability, his draft stock will be based on team success, because there are a lot of factors that go into it. There are a lot of schemes that go into it. So I think he has a chance to be a first-round pick, mid-round first-round pick, from the standpoint of he's a Swiss Army knife. You can do so many things with him. He can play at different spots. But again, it's more than what you see on the field, especially the linebacker position. When I get him into a room to interview him, I'm going to ask him about what he does. I'm going to ask him about what his teammates does. I'm going to ask him, I'm going to put tape on, and we're going to talk about this play. What are your reads? What are you looking at? So there are a lot of variables to go into a guy being a first-round pick, because more importantly than the athletic ability, I want to know about your football acumen. Okay, those are the guys that last in the league. You can be athletic enough. There are a lot of athletic guys that end up at home when it's all said and done because they can't think the game through. So from what I know now, today, I think he's a first-round pick. Now, when the process is all said and done and we've met with him and done all those things, then that'll be the determining factor. But I think he's fast enough, he's tough enough, he's athletic enough, and I think he's got the right mentality.
When you look at Swiss Army knives, you got Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson was a guy who's a jack of all
Mm-hmm.
trades. Buda Baker kind of does everything, and he's done everything for that Cardinals defense. Jabril Peppers, the guy I really liked out of Michigan, who was kind of a jack of all trades. He did everything when he was with the Giants. Last thing I'll ask you guys on before, and I'll start with you, Joey. Does that help him more so? Because, I mean, look, there's a pretty decent linebacker class, right? So when I'm looking at Harold, I'm going to give him the edge if I'm kind of 50-50 on a guy or someone else because he can do everything really well. Maybe not compared to that guy. He's not maybe as good a Mike linebacker or a Will linebacker, but he's better in coverage and we can drop him back and he can rush the passer. Are you going to give him the nod?
It comes down to scheme because everybody's not a fit everywhere. It's just like quarterback. Everybody's not a fit everywhere. So if we're running a certain kind of scheme, like especially, I'll give you an example, like what the Patriots used to run, and I haven't studied enough to know if they're still running the same scheme that Coach Belichick ran. But he would fit. He's got a role as a star or as a money player. And guess what? He can do this. We can put him here. We can line him up here. So he walks in the door having the same type terminology, knowing what to do in certain situations. And a lot of times you pick a player from the football acumen standpoint, because guess what? If this guy go down, I can plug him in here. If this guy's go down, he's smart enough to learn this position. So now I don't have to carry a one position player. It's just like on offense. If rarely it's just a guard. If a guard is a one position player, then he better be hell on wheels. Else, guess what? He's going to go down. He better be able to play center. He better be able to play tackle in some instance, but he's got to be a swing player, okay? Because there are no just one position players anymore. And so for this linebacker to be able to play different positions, all at a high level, and rush the passer, he can only get better from there. Again, if he can think the game through at that linebacker position, I'm not going to call him Fred Warner because that's unique. But you have to be able to think the game through, and if you can do that, then I think you have the ability to rise up draft boards.
Vincent, you got anything to add on to that? Any final thoughts on Harold Perkins?
Hey, man, that was just I like him as an explosive football player, but that's why we got the best with us right now this evening. But that was a beautiful breakdown of Mr. Harold Perkins by Mr. Joey Clinkscales, A+. Back to you, Brian.
Joey, do you have anything else to add on to that beautiful breakdown? You want to tie a bow on it, or
nope, we
can
tie a bow on it. Like I said, it's today I would say he's a first round pick, but again, they have a long season left, and then the off season will be big for him.
Well, Harold Perkins and Jeremiyah Love, two guys who are first-round hopefuls. If everything kind of continues as planned and the way they're playing and their teams are playing, I think it wouldn't be remiss to say they're going to be there. Well, they won't be there round 2 because they'll be taken round 1. I think two teams are going to be very, very happy, and they're going to be very, very blessed. They're going to get two very good players. That's all we got on these two for tonight. We got Vincent Turner. We got Joey Clinkscales. I've been Brian LeBel. Thank you guys for tuning in for our 2026 prospect profiles breakdown of Jeremiyah Love and Harold Perkins. See you guys next week.